I don't think climate activism is separate from anything else. So I think it's embedded, and it's important to understand that adopting a climate change policy is going to create jobs, it's going to build infrastructure, and it's going to build a stronger community. So in terms of those three R's, they've left out recycling. That's really, really important. And I think Geelong can be a world leader in recycling. There's a $600 million federally funded and endorsed recycling fund that's been set up to try and help build some infrastructure following the fact that we can't ship all of our unwanted so-called recycling to China anymore. And what that means is that by 2024, almost all of our waste has to be dealt with in Australia. And the federal government has committed to that. And so Geelong has a really unique opportunity to get in now and access that, that money, create some jobs, build the infrastructure, and actually use the amazing Deakin University Technology Hub and all the amazing minds and opportunities that we have here in Geelong to be leaders and to actually take that opportunity. So that's one of the R's that I think needs to be adopted by council, and it's not a hard thing. It's not something that's going to cost people. And I think people, your average person thinks that it's climate change or me. You know, we're living in COVID at the moment, and people are really struggling. They're struggling to keep their jobs, to pay their rents, to keep a roof over their head. And they see it as, oh, well, if you've got the time and money to devote to the environment, then, you know, good for you. But in reality, adopting climate change principles and attitudes actually saves everyone money and makes it easier for us all to pay our bills and to be able to get on with our lives. So I don't see that that those things are mutually exclusive. And in fact, the more we embrace it, the better we'll be.
That's excellent. Now, Jenny and Malcolm, you have a question?
No.
Right. Okay, look, from my perspective, Monique, we've had a Green councillor who has been really very active on the Geelong Council in environmental concerns, but she's been ploughing a lone furrow, and she's really, she's part of the five. You know, we have a block of 6 and a block of 5 on the council out of the 11 councillors in Geelong, but she's still been very active. But from my perspective, if we can get another couple of young female environmental voices on council to support the Green initiative that we've got from Sarah Mansfield, then we will have a much more sensible and a much more or much less financial businessman view of things, and that can only be for the good.
Yeah, thank you. I follow Sarah Mansfield and have done for some years now. She actually tweeted just on the weekend about community gardening, which is something that I'm passionate about as well. And I've had lots of questions from constituents about verge planting and community gardening and how we can build more community gardens and make it less of a difficult opportunity that, you know, only some people can access community gardens, and some of the community gardens are all full in terms of you know, participants, and they have waiting lists to be able to engage in and enjoy the benefits of that. And Sarah tweeted over the weekend that she agreed and thought that it was a great initiative and a great idea to really provide those opportunities to the community. And I think a step further is more than just providing a place for people to garden, is that we need to provide education, not just education in how to grow plants, but education in how to use those plants, because with that education and understanding, people become more independent and they're more able to use those fruits and vegetables that they may not understand, you know, how to cook or what to do with them. And in that way, that empowers people and makes them more independent and more community focused and driven, which will then really have a knock-on effect in terms of the community, in terms of sustainability of the environment, but also our ability to flourish and be strong.
Tony. Monique, Tony has a question, but I think he's muted. Tony, do you want to unmute yourself?
I am.
Right.
Yep, Monique, I'm just wondering what you made of Council's recent decision to set really ambitious targets and doing that just before the election.
I think it's a good start.
It seems like you'll slot in there very easily.
It's a good start, but what it is, it's very, we will try, we would like to, we aim to. So those aren't guarantees or promises or commitments. What they are is kind of fluffy words which indicate that they're agreeing with the public. The public has said, you know, this is what we want. And they've said, well, we'll try to do that. Now that's good. And they've come a really long way from where they were. And in admitting that we're in a climate emergency, that's a really good step. But what we need are more concrete words, commitments where the council will say, we promise that we will do this. We will achieve zero emissions by 2030. That's a concrete promise that the council has made. More of those type promises and more actual plans on how we'll achieve those things need to be included.
Monique, I'm curious.
That's a good reason to vote for.
Say that again, Tony, because you're lagging.
Yeah. I think, yeah, it sounds like it's a very good reason to vote for you if you're in your particular ward.
And speaking about that, how are people responding, Monique? What's the reactions been when you go out and say to people, I will put climate first? What do people respond?
So it's a bit of a mixed bag. So some people are like, yes, finally, yes, I'm so behind you. Some people are a little bit more circumspect. They're like, well, and how does this impact me? How does this impact my ability to, you know, put my kids through school and pay my bills? Once you explain to them that it's not a, you know, choice A or choice B, that it's all built in together. And once you start talking about shopping locally, supporting local businesses, supporting local community, then people come on board because they realise that we're not out there. We're not a bunch of crazies who are tying ourselves to trees and trucks and things like that. We're passionate, and you know there are really big issues in terms of you know, saving the coral reef and logging and things like that. But I'm talking about everyday things that everyday people can do and how the council can support that. And simple things like verge planting. At the moment, you can only have grass, crushed gravel, or a planting at a maximum of 10 centimetres high on your verge. Now, that doesn't encourage verge planting. It doesn't encourage community or growing or supporting in any way. And grass on your verge is basically almost as good as nothing. So just really simple initiatives that heaps of other councils, Randwick City Council, Darebin Council, there's councils out there that are making changes. And if you have a look at Gardening Australia, Costa has done some really, really good articles there. He's created a segment called On the Verge, and it goes through his process of actually transforming his own verge or nature strip into something with his actual street and community, which is actually really, really amazing. So I think that once you break down those little barriers and little walls with people, and they can see that you're a rational, reasonable, normal person who has a mobile phone and drives a car and lives in a normal house and struggles with those same problems that they have. And when they see that I am myself out there trying to make a difference, and that I'm making changes in my own life, then they say, well, okay, you're not this unattainable, unrealistic thing. You're an example of me. You're just a regular person who's got a family, who's trying to pay the bills, but also trying to do the right thing.
Good on you, Monique. And you're in Windermere Ward. Can you let us know what the boundaries are, just so that our listeners in that ward can know that they've got to put Monique Connell first? So whereabouts are your boundaries?
So the boundaries of my ward is quite large. It goes all the way out to Batesford, then out through Anarchy, out to Staunton Vale, around to Little River, comes back through Lara, North Shore, North Geelong, Bell Park, Bell Post Hill, Manifold Heights, and then it also goes all the way out to Point Wilson. So it's a really, really large ward, but it has some really important concentrations of people in the north. So Corio, Lara, Little River, those areas have been a forgotten voice. And those people are the people that are the first people to suffer from the impacts of climate change. You know, when water becomes the same price as gold, the wealthy will always be able to afford it. But those people who are less wealthy, who are on the margins, who are working pay to pay and struggling to put food on the table, those are the people that are first affected by climate change. And the people in my ward are such an important group of people, and I really want them to understand that I will represent the North, and I'll represent them in council, and I'll be a voice for them to support everybody to get on board and make a change for the environment.
On you, Monique.
Excellent.
That's terrific, Monique. Terrific.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
No, pleasure. We wish you all the best on election day, which is all October virtually, seeing it's supposed to vote this year.
Hey, Vicky, you have a question.
Yeah, well, I want to congratulate Monique first. I think she's speaking really well and making so much sense. So good on you. And I hope your campaign goes really well. So many things I'd love to chat to you more about, but it's all about building that resilient community. So, you know, whether it's the Verge Garden, whether it's more jobs in recycling than landfill, it's about putting the North first for a change. You've spoken about so many great things. Geelong Sustainability is collaborating with the Geelong Community Survey Group, and we are going to put out a scorecard survey to every candidate that standing, and we will be then producing a scorecard and further information to help the public decide who they should be putting forth and working out what are people's priorities. So I just want to congratulate you, Monique. You're speaking really well. So all strength to your bow.
Thank you so much, Vicky. I really appreciate it.